How cool is that?
Yeah, that is something.
He's got the fender skirts too.
A little customized.
Yeah, huh?
Headlights. Yeah.
Look at the exhaust.
Oh, she's got lake pipes on it?
Yeah, look at that. That's really cool.
Wow. Continental kit.
Wow.
Rolling pleated interior.
I miss the old 53 now.
Yeah.
The old police spotlights.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and those two.
Look at that Indiana certificate of inspection. How cool is that? 1970.
That
Really cool. There it is. Is that the 3 on the tree?
Yep. That's it.
What a great little piece of history. My name is Jeff Archambeault, and I drive a 2006 BMW M3 and a 2001 Diazio D962 race car. I live here in South Shore, Massachusetts, my wife and family, and when I'm not doing track day things, there's a whole list of other things that I do, a lot of other passions that I have. I do ride motorcycles, play the bagpipes, but mostly, as you can probably see, we've got horses. We absolutely love our horses. I met my wife because of horses. I've been in law enforcement for just over 20 years now, so I rode with a mounted unit. My wife, she's a rider. She's been riding since she was about 5 years old, and she loves to teach lessons, loves to teach children. But also with our children, it's kind of nice because you kind of get the farm work ethic going in there, which we really, really love. It's been great having the horses around. They're fun to have. A lot of work, kind of like a race car, but we wouldn't have it any other way. I've been going for years to professional races. I just love being there. I love being around the cars. My first ever race that I ever attended was actually in 2002, back when Formula One was using the V10 engines, and they were still at Indianapolis. I actually took the drive out there by myself to watch Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard and everybody in these amazing, loud, deafening cars go around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and ever since then I've been fully hooked on going to racing. I try to go to a couple of pro races every year as much as I possibly can. My love for cars, I want to say it started probably pre-teens, maybe 10 or 11 years old. But I distinctly remember my father bringing home a 1953 Ford Mainline.
In the early 80s, getting into antique cars. It's like something my father was into. I bought a 1953 Ford Mainline.
Had a beautiful flathead V8 inside it, 3-speed on the column, which was the first standard shift I ever learned how to drive, was a 3-speed on the column. So difficult but fun to say the least. And from there it just kind of blossomed. We went to a lot of car shows together. He brought home a lot of trophies, and you could just see the pride in him, but I enjoyed not only seeing him with his car, but then going to the shows and seeing all the other cars that were there. So probably right around that time is when it really started for me, and it hasn't left since. It's been here ever since. So my love for Porsches started probably right about the same time. I believe I was either 11 or 12 years old, and my Uncle John had bought a 1985 Porsche 911 convertible cabrio, and it was a triple black, and it was amazing. Get into the car and start it up, and unbeknownst to me that the motor's sitting behind me. So that was a bit of a jolt. I think there's a lot of firsts that we all remember in our lives. I remember my first flat six distinctly. I will never forget that sound because it jumped out at me from behind me. Something about an older flat six that you just get those little clicks and everything, and it just, you know, it kind of ignites the soul when you hear it. So Race Cars for a Cause came about back in late 2014. Our mission is to give veterans and their family members a racing and a track experience, an authentic racing and racetrack experience at racetracks all across the Northeast. I do have an immediate family member who is a Army veteran, combat wounded, and kind of listening to his story, I started to think that is there something more that I can do in my life to maybe give back to veterans. And I think a lot of times we kind of forget that they are literally laying their lives on the line for us, for this country. And when they come back, sometimes it's not always glorious. It's a long, difficult road of recovery, especially if they're combat injured. You know, I think any helping hand that we can kind of give to them is any help at all. For me, it was, what do I love doing? And maybe some of the passion and the excitement that I feel through those things, maybe I can pass on to them as just as a new experience, something different for them. We got our first big break in June of 2015, and a gentleman by the name of Dan Bloom got a hold of what we were doing and actually offered to host us at one of his track day events for Apex driving events at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. Kind of the golden standard in the Northeast of racing, such a great, fantastic place, great history. I luckily got 5 veterans together through a local nonprofit called Project New Hope, which is actually based out of Worcester, Massachusetts, run by my friend Bill Moore. And we met at Lime Rock Park, and Dan took them out in his M3 and his Audi S4, and we just had the best day. I was winging it. I was a one-man operation at that point. You know, I went into it not really knowing what I was doing, but just kind of hoping for the best and hoping, okay, let's hope that these guys have a really great time out here. And they did. It was a great experience. Bill wrote up a great little article and said, you know, he thought they were doing 150 miles an hour down the front straight, and that's when I kind of knew that hopefully I had something going at that point. Fast forward almost a full year later, I had no opportunity to do any more track events, unfortunately. So I then met Sean Cannon. Sean was working at the time at South Shore BMW. They were doing a track event at Palmer Motorsports Park, a great place. Anybody that knows Palmer knows the track itself, that it's a fantastic track. We went out there, same thing, 5 veterans, and just had a fantastic time. The one thing, if I may, that really stuck out at that point, I had people ask, what are you really giving veterans? I think a lot of people were doubting, you know, what good does a racetrack day do for veterans? And I did a lot of reflecting on that. So a quick little story, while some of the other veterans were out on track, this one gentleman sat down with me at the tent, and we had a small conversation. There was a bit of a pause, and he said, Jeff, you know, I really got to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I said, sure, I love doing this. He said, no, what I mean is, you know, a lot of people don't realize for the veterans that sometimes there's, you know, every day there's the bad thoughts, is the way he put it. He said, this is the first time that I can remember in a long time that the bad thoughts are no longer there. He said, I woke up this morning looking forward to going to a racetrack because I've never been to a racetrack. I've never been in a performance car. And he said, and all day long, there's just been nothing but good vibes. And he said, I can't thank you enough for that. So I think it was kind of justification for me. Okay, let's keep going with this. Let's not give up. You know, don't give up on veterans and don't give up on your passions. In 2019, I had written a letter to Alan Wilzig at the Wilzig Race Manor. One of the volunteers on my staff for Race Cars for a Cause had mentioned his name, and they said, you know, he's a big motorsports person. He, you know, loves race cars, loves motorcycles, has a racetrack at the property. Maybe just mention to him, see if there's any kind of synergy there. Got a phone call from a gentleman by the name of Peter Huber, who works for Alan. Contacted me via telephone and said, talk about timing, Jeff. He said, Alan and I run a annual charity event called Wilzig Race Manor Gives. And what we do is we raise funds for local charities. And he said, but Alan has always wanted to find a veterans charity to give back to when we just couldn't find one that really worked for us. He invited me to come out to the Wilzig Race Manor, which is amazing. Words can't even describe how incredible this place is. You know, you walk in and it's racing nirvana for any motorsports people. So met Peter and Alan that particular day. told them what my goals for Race Cars for a Cause was, which was not only just raising much needed funding to be able to continue the veterans events, but also I really would like to get them into a racing vehicle, a true racing car. You know, a big shout out to all the drivers that volunteer to come out and drive for us. But it was our turn to finally get a race car is what I felt. So Peter brought me into the museum. Amazingly, here was the Diazio sitting front and center. He looked right at it and said, well, Jeff, would something like this work for you with the charity? And to look at it, I mean, my jaw hit the ground, because here I am, basically Porsche guy, and this is a, you know, scaled down version of the Porsche 962. And I just said, well, what are you considering? I said, what's the cost? And he said, no. I talked about it with Alan, and we'd like to donate it. Never in my wildest dreams, 5 years into this nonprofit, did I ever think that somebody would come along and actually donate a race car. You know, when people crawl into this thing, they know this is a full-on race car. It's a tube frame chassis built by Fab Car, who also built the 962 race cars back in the 80s. I owe a huge thanks to Alan Wilzig and Peter Huber, but also a gentleman by the name of Dan Sperling. Dan also runs the WRM Gives event with Alan. So not only did they raise funding for us, but donated this beautiful car, and I can't thank them enough for it, because they know that, you know, veterans get into this thing and they're getting the real track experience inside of this. To drive the Diazio is a fun experience. It's a Yamaha YZF 1000 motor in the back. It is a 5-speed sequential transmission, and it's still a true 3-pedal car, which is great. So you're still heel towing on every downshift, which is a lot of fun. Revs to 11,000 RPM, so it sounds like a Formula One car coming at you, which is really, really fun. Fully adjustable all around, adjustable suspension, adjustable aerodynamics. It's fun, it's loud, it's fast, and I can't wait to actually start to push the boundaries of it a little bit more and get to feel it out, but it's an amazing car to drive. I really do want to give veterans that true racing experience, and we do it in the 962. From the factories, I would love to see something come our way that maybe we can really give the veterans that real, true racing experience. These manufacturers have all these great racing cars lining their museums.
Awesome ride. I'm sure it was. Fantastic.
Yeah, did you enjoy
Ride
that?
of a lifetime.
Yeah.
My wife's going to love this when she finds out.
It's been a fun little car.
Great ride.
Thank you. Let's use them for what they're meant for, and not only get them back on track, but let's get veterans into them and really, really have some fun with them. All right, we're good to go. Hey, my name is Jeff Archambeault, and I drive the number 911 Porsche 911 RSR. Sorry, I had to sneak that in. Sorry, that's for Porsche for later. All right, here we go.
You need the shoehorn?